A very good afternoon, Zimbabwe. My name is Ronald Wekwamakusha, and welcome to Africa and Beyond Television Network. So, this afternoon, let us talk about the final episode of The Gold Mafia, which has been aired by the Al Jazeera investigative unit. So, we have been waiting for this episode. The episode was aired today, and we have seen Professor Madhuku coming to clear his client Uebert Angel and say that Uebert Angel was on a mission or on an intelligence mission. So let us get through this press conference. Then you get to know what he said.
Practice is that they were going to check what are called security checks. Who are they and so on. And these security checks need to be undertaken through the national intelligence framework of this country. So the intelligence framework of our country was checked. The intelligence advised my client that they had serious doubts about the persons, they had serious suspicions about the persons, and that it was not advisable right at that stage for those persons to meet the president. In fact, national intelligence discovered that those persons intended something very dangerous, not just to the country, but to the president, that their aim was at the president and whatever. So the position which was discussed, this interaction then led to what we are calling a classified national intelligence assignment, which meant that a decision was taken with the intelligence authorities that my client would play along. He would not cancel his interactions with these persons. He would meet them and meet them as if he was going to make arrangements for them to meet the president and for them to be able to do investments in Zimbabwe. So it was in the context of a national intelligence operation. Zimbabwe wanted to gain intelligence out of it, wanted to see how far its enemies could go and what their agendas were. And these were issues to do with that. That is the context. Now, I should emphasize at this stage that even as I'll give you a few more details in respect of that, so that I explain what my client is saying in respect of what is coming out of the documentary, that ordinarily these things are not told to the world. These things are not told to the public. But because of the intensity of the Al Jazeera documentary and its implications on the integrity of the operations of governmental systems in this country, my client felt obliged that he has a moral obligation, at least to give an indication of what was going on.
So this is what Professor Madhuku said. Key issues raised here. Number one, he says the president was the target from the onset. So Prophet Ubert Angel had to play along with the intelligence. But I find that thing unreasonable. That point, I find it unreasonable. At what point did Ubert Angel begin to play along with the gold mafia? At what point did Uebert Angel inform the intelligence or the security sector about all these things? At what point? Because we have seen all the revelations which were made, and these are tarnishing revelations which were made, and all these things, they affect the economy of Zimbabwe, the banking sector of Zimbabwe, and everything else. But he went on to tarnish the economy, the nation. He went on to tarnish the president. He went to tarnish everybody who is mentioned there. For the sake of getting intelligence, I find it difficult to agree with this assertion myself. So you would see that that is what they said, but we are not fools. We are not going to accept such a lie from Uebert Angel and the professor. So, in fact, the government of Zimbabwe, through Uebert Angel, they have accepted that this documentary is true. They have accepted that everything which is mentioned in this documentary is true. Because if he played along, it means that all what was said is true. So We now need to see the security sector arresting Macmillan, arresting everybody else who spoke about the links to the Mnangagwa family. That is the first point we need to establish. We need to see all these guys who were pointing fingers onto the president. We need to see them being arrested. We need to see them being brought to book at this moment in time. Remember, he said, one of the guys said, the president don't like Mangujga. He is the one who went to the president and said, Mangujga is the problem. So if that person could say Mangujga is the problem, what do we expect for on the monetary policy? You have seen the results coming in. I believe that the reason why Mangujga was pointed out as a problem is because Mangujga was trying to do the right thing, or was trying to protect the economy first. He knew the consequences of these actions, and he was trying to protect the economy, but he was made an enemy because that could jeopardize all the dealings which were happening. If you take a look on the Al Jazeera documentary, when Macmillan mentions that Mangujga was the problem, there is a hand with a gold coin. So Mangujga got a gold coin, which means when Mangujga introduced the gold coins, he wanted to curb this issue of money laundering through individuals. Why? He wanted this thing to be official. He wanted people to purchase the gold coins on the international price. That was going to benefit the people of Zimbabwe. That was going to benefit the government of Zimbabwe, because we were going to have official transfer flows of money into the economy. But a system stopped Mangujga. A system fought Mangujga. That is the honest truth. So in this documentary, Mangujga has been exonerated. Mangujga has been cleared. Kuti, he doesn't have any hand in all these dealings. He's just being used, or is just following whatever which is happening. But his problem is the silence. So honestly speaking, Team Zimbabwe, you can actually see that this is a very complicated story, a story where we are going to see a lot happening within the nation of Zimbabwe in the coming days. We are going to see a lot happening. So I don't want to take it much longer. Hanzi panapa na professor Mukoma Mporofita havana mhosva. He was just on an intelligence assignment. Ndozvavataura handisirisu. So please ndizei munhu say kuri hanzi it's all lies. They are testing our intelligence. He was caught. Okay, hanzi, I don't believe the lies. Liar Madhuku. Okay. Okay, Hanzi, they think we are fools. It's utter rubbish. They were on a mission and unfortunately were caught. I agree with you there. I believe that these people, they were caught offside and they are now trying to bandage the situation. But in doing so, what Professor Madhuku is managed to do is to validate the Al Jazeera documentary, which means we now need the security sector to come in. The CIO should now come in and give their own statement to say this is what was happening. They have to declassify this whole issue because it has come public. The lawyer has come public as well and said this was an intelligence issue, which means this matter should now be declassified. The documents should now come out and be shown to the public. And we need to see the action. What was the action of the president? Because in all this, Uebert Angel knew people like Macmillan, people like other mentioned people. He knew their roles in everything which was happening, which means we need to ask this to the intelligence. What was your action after that? After all those things happened, what was your action? What did you do to protect the integrity of Zimbabwe? Because you knew that these people had a mission, and you knew that these Macmillans, they've said a lot of things now. What do you have to say? Because it shows something is happening, or some things were just happening. And this is, guys, I think I have said it all, and I'm pained by the statement Zimbabwe is easy. Thank you very much, Mkoma Andoni, for that contribution. It's no longer easy to be a Zimbabwean. because you hear the government officials saying this was a decoy. They have accepted the documentary, they have accepted everything else. Chasara ndechekuti taakuda kuziva action. We need to see the president coming in, give his own statement. We need to see the CIO, we need to see the Zimbabwe Defense Forces coming in, giving their own sides of the story. We want to see Governor Mnangagwa coming in, giving his own side of the story. We need to see each and every person involved coming in to give his own side of the story. Hapachada kuvhundudzirana, hapachada kutyisidzirana, hapachada kuurayana. Pakuda kuti tichitaurirana chokwadi, zvaifamba sei? Give us the details as the authorities. Tizive kuti chii chaimboitika. Are we safe as citizens? Because zvazobuda sei neku Al Jazeera, sei zvisina kubuda through the intelligence office. Okay, sezvo profesa vataura vachiti vaisakwanisa kuzviisa kupublic, ngavachiuya kane a declassified document iri kutiratidza kuti who was involved in all these things, what action was taken by the intelligence to make sure that they protect the integrity of the nation of Zimbabwe, because it was already jeopardized. What it means at this moment in time, the Al Jazeera documentary is here. What it means, RBZ can be sanctioned at any time from now, which means the people of Zimbabwe can fail to do transactions. Our banks might lose correspondence from international banks, which means the Zimbabwean people will fail to move money in and out of Zimbabwe. So the issue is, this issue has already jeopardized the economy of Zimbabwe. It's already jeopardized the relations of Zimbabwe in the financial systems. So what are you going to do? What are your actions as the intelligence? Remedy ndeipi? Ndozvasara. So thank you very much for coming. Memory Ncube and every Zimba. Okay, arubvumirana namukomando nanzi zvakaoma Madhuku chokwadi. Okay, anzi Sikala ngaabude mjera. I agree with you, Memory Ncube. Sikala should come out because hana maakamfesu uya mbavha uri kudziona iwo kana wakangotariswa semunhu, but you know. So this is it, Zimbabwe. Tiri kuseka zvedu as if it's a joke, but it's not a joke, because moyo wangu uri kurwadziwa kuti what kind of people are these? Unotouya kuzoita press conference uchidefenda nonsense dzakadai so, but he did us a favor because he instructed a lawyer to come to deal with this issue, and it's now on record that Uebert Angel is wholly involved. Hapasina zviya zvekuti voice iri rakabhendeswa, voice iri rakatendeudzwa iri rakazodia. He was involved in all this and he acted along, according to Professor Madhuku. That is key, which means we really now need to see the people coming to explain so that we get full answers. And my doctor venyika varimo munyaya yekeshi vese nadoctor vacho Chiremba, the big man, vese varimo. So this is it, Team Zimbabwe. Let us meet in other episodes and other broadcasts. My name is Ronald Mukusha.